Believe it or not, global warming is, in fact, a very prevalent and pressing issue on our Earth. There are a few reasons as to why global warming is occurring, and we're here to help you understand those reasons, and collectively look for the solutions to global warming and the ways that we can improve our current circumstances in relation to the issue together as a community. As much as we'd all like to simply trust that we have the solution, and as much as we like to think that we know exactly what we must do to make a difference, the truth of the matter is this. The majority of this community, while it may think otherwise, actually is in need of more information regarding climate change, and that's where we come in. After weeks of studying the climate and the many ways that it can be affected, the four of us now have a more in-depth education concerning our local climate and the issues that have come upon it. That being said, our mission is to extend our knowledge to the people of this community, but before we do so, we chose to conduct a public survey to discover just how much this community knows about global warming and whether or not they believe in climate change. To kick off this presentation, we'd like to begin by displaying a pie chart of the various questions asked and the responses that follow. Based off of our results, what we found was this. Although every single person that took this survey does, in fact, believe in global warming and is aware of the negative impact that it has on our Earth, their knowledge of the various causes of global warming was split between the truth and the myths. One such myth being the classic misunderstanding of why the sea levels are rising. Is it because the icebergs are melting under an increase in the sun's solar radiation, or is it because water naturally expands when heated? Contrary to popular belief, the answer is actually the latter of those two theories, as when water is warmed up, it expands, which explains why the sea levels continue to rise. Overall, the results of our survey were fairly surprising, as each person interviewed brought something unique to the responses. What we've done is we've taken all the responses and would now like to capitalize on the areas of knowledge that are the weakest. Together, we can work to find a solution, and we'll start by explaining the basics behind global warming and climate change. For many years, the temperature of Earth's atmosphere has been continually on the rise due to human activity and its effect on the environment and topography. There are many reasons for the increases in Earth's atmospheric temperature. The first contributor to this global climate change is the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is directly tied back to human emission, and it occurs when water vapor and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere trap the sun's rays that are reflected off of Earth's surface, also known as reflection. With that being said, an increase in carbon dioxide emissions would lead to global climate change. An example of this can be found in yourself starting up your car every day, as this could greatly contribute to an increase in Earth's global temperature. Let me rattle off a couple other factors that were mentioned in the surveys, as these are things that directly affect climate change and the atmosphere around us. These include manufacturing emissions, reliance on coal off-gassing from home building materials such as fire retardants on furniture, paint, carpet, etc., as well as methane from cows in the meat industry. Now, while these things are only a few of the factors that directly contribute to global warming's negative impact, it's time to get into how these affect our community directly and how we can prevent them from occurring in the first place. Now, the effects of global warming are none to take lightly, as they will lead to negativity in many aspects of our daily lives. Environmentally, species and plants will be lost and driven into extinction, as they will be unable to survive in an increasingly warmer climate. Economically, the price of certain foods will be driven through the roof, as the cost to produce them will increase because of the effects of global warming. Now that we've covered the effects of global warming that have potential to directly affect our community in the future, let's talk about how we can make that future a little bit brighter and potentially take steps towards halting global warming. The biggest factor that contributes to global warming, as stated earlier, is the burning of fossil fuels, or excessive amounts of CO2 being emitted into the atmosphere. If everyone in our community could just focus a little more on other forms of transportation, rather than cars, or personal carbon dioxide emitting vehicles, the air would be much cleaner and thus much more comfortable to live in. We must use only the resources that we absolutely need and be careful not to use these in excess. These include turning off the lights, saving gas, and other simple things like that. There are so many more ways to prevent global warming, and it could be as simple as changing one or two things in your daily routine. Maybe biking or walking to work instead of driving, or turning off the lights before you leave home for the day. These are simple steps towards making a difference, and now it's up to you to do your part. If you promise to commit to it, as a community, we can begin to work towards a solution to this global issue. Slowly but surely, these little steps will add up to something greater, and before you know it, we'll be on our way to a healthier, cleaner, and more comfortable atmosphere.